Okay, we are in deep discussion on this topic tonight. Resources that are out there for families and friends of murder victims, and a unique therapeutic workshop that is coming up this Saturday. We'll, before this segment ends, we will share that information with you once again. Talia Monget-Simmons is the founder of the Antwand Covington Jr Foundation, and Merna ElSols is a counselor at the Refuge Center. They're both very involved with this workshop. And once again, ladies, thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always good to dive a little deeper into some of these topics that we just can't do on a regular newscast, which is why we love News Channel 5 Plus and love having these programs. You mentioned the pandemic, Merna. Tell us about that added impact on these kids.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about the extra layer of isolation and loneliness. And so many kids becoming so verbose and just saying alone is different than lonely. And I'm feeling both right now, and I don't know what to do with it.
Alone is different from lonely. That's a great point.
Yeah. They're definitely able to feel it, and they may say, you know, hey, at school I may have been lonely, but now I am literally alone and lonely. I may have been able to go knock on an open door or go to a school counselor pre-pandemic, and I can't believe that this is an actual time now, pre-pandemic.
Right.
But that used to be, you know, that was available pre-pandemic, and we took it for granted. We took it for granted that we had so many people around us that could lend listening ears or caring hearts or just something to let us know we're not alone in this. But the pandemic definitely took that away.
Tell me how both of you, first of all, Talia, your foundation, and then there's Partners in the Struggle, of course, and Merna, the Refuge Center, where do you get your funding?
Yeah, so we get our funding from United Way, several other folks in the community who invest in the mission and invest in the hope that is the Refuge Center in the community. Right.
And what about you, Talia?
We don't use funding. We just everything is out of our pocket. Earl Jordan does a lot of the work, and you know, although a lot of organizations, especially the ones like Merna and them they need a lot of the funding. We really truly just want the support from the community. You know, it's always good to take donations if people want to do that, but you know, we just put in the work and we use our own funding.
And I will say this about Earl, you know, sometimes when you say support, it's just about showing up. And
absolutely,
you know, after I know he's held way too many vigils when we've lost someone in the community. But that's an important part of the process, too. I think about the community in Waukesha, Wisconsin, this terrible incident at the Christmas parade, and how traumatic that must have been for so many people. And again, all types of people there, a community, a diverse community, and then to see them come together immediately the next night, last night I think it was, and have that candlelight vigil. That's the start, you know, that's the beginning. And I know so many times, Earl and Talia, I know you've been there for neighbors and after something terrible's happened. But that is important, Merna, right? To at least get everyone together. If you need to cry on someone's shoulder, if you need to yell and scream, whatever you need to do to start the process of healing.
Yeah, absolutely. Healing happens in community. It happens when people say, just as I was telling Miss Talia, you know, hey, we may be feeling this thing and we don't have the right words for it, but a neighbor might.
Right.
A neighbor may be going through the same thing, and they may be just able to put words to what you've been feeling on for a bit. The grief journey is definitely a unique process, and it's a process that we don't want to, you know, marginalize. As we do this together, there's also the respect that we want to afford to everyone who's going through their own personal journey of grief.
Right.
You get to decide what happens with your grief. You get to decide what comes of it. You get to decide if you don't want to talk about it right now, or if you have to tell someone just then, or if you would rather just, wait and journal about it. You get to decide how it comes out.
Right.
We just hope that it comes out in the appropriate way, in the meaningful way, so that people around you can relate, so people around you can be there for you as you ask them for help.
So, and as we talk about these resources that are providing the help, we need more resources. Would you agree? I mean, how can we as a community, and I've found, living here more than 16 years, Nashville, we're growing more diverse, we're growing fast, but it's a unique community. I mean, when the stakes are high and when the call is put out for help, people respond. It's pretty remarkable. So what can we do as a community?
Yeah.
Well, again, we have to keep supporting, each other in events like we do all the time. A lot of times people are reactive and not proactive,
Right.
and a lot of our events are proactive. And so we got to get people geared up to be proactive instead of waiting on something bad to happen. Let's, gear towards being proactive and say, hey, regardless if something bad happens, we're going to be here for one another. We're going to support one another. And just that real sense of community.
Yeah.
So what about the resources, Merna? I mean, we need more, obviously.
We do, and we've seen a lot of counseling programs say we do see the need, not just with the pandemic, but we have been seeing the need rise. The need for diverse care, the need for support, the need for outreach in various communities. And several programs in Nashville have responded. I know I was recently in contact with Lipscomb's program, and they have doubled their size to invite folks to learn how to counsel, to learn how to reach out to people.
Good.
So that is already in the works.
And you know this as well, and I've worked with so many different nonprofits with fundraisers and whatnot, but Nashville's got a really strong network of nonprofits who, they've suffered the last few years. The funding hasn't been there, and the pandemic has hurt them, but it's a strong network.
For sure. And several nonprofits have been able to help and to support the community. Places like Agape, places like the Refuge Center, places like the Lipscomb Family Therapy Center. These are places that are available, that are affordable, that are sliding scale. That if one counselor may not be the best fit for you, you can, request, hey, I need someone with X, Y, or Z, or who has training in this particular method. So there's an opportunity to reach for help. I think a goal of ours, as Ms. Talia had been mentioning, is to help support schools, help support teachers as they have these hard conversations.
Yeah.
And that could simply mean just trauma-informed care or teaching. And that could be as simple as, I see that this kid is withdrawn.
Yeah, a recognition.
Just see something, ask a question. And this has been something that we have learned in several of our trainings. Ask a question, save a life. Ask a question and just, hey, is there something going on? Is there something you want to talk to me about? Or can I excuse you to step outside for a moment, or to go talk with a counselor at school for a moment? It can be something as simple as ask a question. Yeah. And you never know the impact of that question.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so true. All right, before we wrap up, we want to put that flyer up and really urge people to take part in this workshop. Partners in the Struggle, Antwand Covington Jr Foundation, the Refuge Center, they're all coming together. This is this Saturday at the Hartman Park Regional Community Center. That's 2801 Tucker Road in Nashville, 1 o'clock. The purpose is, a therapeutic, first ever therapeutic workshop for young people and obviously their families affected by the murder of a loved one or other violence. It's going to bring together all ages, daughters, sons, sisters, brothers, relatives, and friends who are dealing with the loss in their life. It's going to be facilitated by you, Merna, as we mentioned, and Taylor Bork. All participants, if you can, bring a photo or framed photo if you have it, or just a photo of that loved one to the workshop. And all ages. You hope to get young kids all the way up to 19 years old. We hope they'll encourage each other to be there, and I know Earl will be there as well. So I wish you guys the best of luck, and I look forward to following up to see how this goes. And hopefully it'll be the start of something regular, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you both.
We're definitely looking to partner yearly.
Okay, thank you both for being here. We appreciate it. You
Thank you
guys
so
are
much.
free to go. I'll wrap up after this break. Enjoyed the conversation. We'll be right back.